Good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody here to the chambers this evening and officially kick off our notice of public hearing at 5:55 for discussion on the adoption of the 2026-27 Fulton Montgomery Community College operating budget. Is there anyone in our audience who would like to make comment on the college's budget for the upcoming school year? Hearing none, the public hearing is closed. Thank you. Good evening. I'd like to call the July meeting of the Montgomery County Legislature to order at 6 o'clock and welcome you all here today. Roll call, please.
Chair Pep.
Monsignor.
Legislator Elwood.
Here.
Legislator Sweet.
Here.
Legislator Muehlbeck.
Present.
Legislator Headwell.
Present.
Legislator Furiello. Legislator Majewski.
Here.
Legislator Kowalczyk.
Here.
And Legislator Pollock.
Present.
Please rise for our salute to the flag. Greg Truckenmiller, will you please lead us in our salute to the flag?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing as we recognize those who have fallen since our last board meeting. Leon S. Pratt, Sr. of Amsterdam, passed away on July the 1st. He served proudly with the United States Army and following his honorable discharge continued his service in the Army National Guard. He then served on the Amsterdam Police Department force for over 2 decades where he retired from. Aaron Aurelio Acevedo of Amsterdam passed away on July the 4th. Aaron enlisted in the U.S. Navy in November 1990 and was honorably discharged in 1999. Norman F. Rafalski of Amsterdam passed away on July the 10th. He was a U.S. Army veteran serving during the Korean War. Robert F. Kaiser of Amsterdam passed away on Sunday, July the 12th. He served in the United States Navy and later in the U.S. Air National Guard. Richard P. Weinheimer, Sr. of Fort Plain, passed away on July the 13th. He served his country bravely, enlisting in the U.S. Air Force, serving from 1955 through 1960. And Joseph R. Bartone of Fort Johnson passed away on July the 26th. Joe was a proud veteran. He served the United States Army and as a member of the Air National Guard from 1959 until his honorable discharge in 1965. He was also the husband of former county clerk Helen Bartone. A moment of silence, please. Thank you. All right, at this time, we are open for public comment. I will say this, I'm not blind and I know there's a lot of people here who want to talk tonight, for which we welcome, but because of the quantity of people who want to make public comment, we would like to limit it to 5 minutes apiece. All right, please. So please step to the podium if you'd like to make public comment and state your name and what's on your mind.
Excuse me. Good evening. My name is Bonnie Kuchar, and I am the chair of Glen Farmland Incorporated. On behalf of Glen Farmland and the thousands of residents throughout Montgomery County, I want to sincerely thank you, our county executive, and each member of the county legislature for your leadership, your courage, and your unwavering commitment to protecting Montgomery County's agricultural heritage. Your willingness to stand up for our county and defend our farmland has given hope to so many of us who cherish this place we proudly call home. The Montgomery County Agricultural and Farmland Protection Plan recognizes that agriculture is the cornerstone of our county's economy and identity. Our productive farmland, scenic byways, breathtaking views, and historic rural landscapes are treasures that define Montgomery County and enrich the lives of everyone who lives here and everyone who visits. I would also like to extend a special thank you to Megan Mannion, our county attorney. Thank you, Megan, for your dedication in drafting the county's appeals and for helping defend Montgomery County's position before New York State. Your professionalism and commitment have meant so much to all of us. One day, our children and grandchildren will look back and ask what we did when the future of this land was in our hands. Because of your leadership, we can tell them that when Montgomery County's farms, scenic byways, views, and rural character needed defending, you stood up. You chose courage over convenience. You chose stewardship over surrender and legacy over the moment. For that, generations yet to come will have you to thank. Thank you for your service, your leadership, and for giving Montgomery County and its future your very best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Linda Fry, and this is my husband Kurt. We are owners of Fry Stables over on 5S in Fultonville. We're going to discuss ORS. So let's start off by saying control. By letting ORS take control, Montgomery County is essentially giving up on our zoning laws that were put into place to protect our farmlands, local business, and everyone's properties. Solar projects. 2 projects that ORS pushed through currently are Mill Point Solar and Flat Creek Solar. Both will be destroying active farmland for these solar projects to become active. What is the future of this land when the solar no longer works? The company that did said projects moves on, goes bankrupt, etc. What are we leaving to our next generation? Money, fortune, beautiful land? No. We're leaving solar fields that may or may not create energy. If they do, none stays here in our county. It goes to the statewide grid and then sent to other high-demand areas. It has been proven that landowners who are in close proximity to these large-scale solar projects have had their home value decreased. While the landowner who is leasing his or her land may benefit from the lease, working with these foreign solar companies, his or her neighbors will not. I realize that we have had one of our prominent farm owners speak at the last few meetings about his benefits from what the solar can do for his family and their land. However, can we say the same for his neighbors and others that live near this property? It is fact that the energy that is collected will not lower our energy cost or taxes, and now will be decreasing the value of our homes that are in this proximity to the solar project. Is this help thy neighbor, or is it truly help thyself? Contamination. The contamination of our land is a very real fact when ORS pushes these solar projects through. Clearing the land for construction of said panels runs the risk of soil erosion, sediment runoff. The equipment and panels themselves both run the risk of contaminating the soil. Metals such as lead and selenium can both leach into the ground. Will ORS make sure this doesn't happen? DEC, Department of Environmental Conservation. DEC was created July 1st, 1970. Why was it created? To better protect natural resources, manage public lands, and control pollution. Why would we ever want this department that has been in place for 56 years to ever be overruled when it comes to protecting our lands? This is exactly what ORS has done. Allowing this to happen, ignoring our local zoning laws, will all lead to the destruction of our beautiful farmlands as we know them to be. New York State has some serious renewable energy goals, but to whose expense are these goals being met? Ours. The backbone of our county, the hardworking farmers and families, all just trying to preserve our lands for the future generations. Usable land. Currently 18,000 acres solar developers have received or sought permits for. This is 7% of the county's total land area and 19% of its usable agricultural base. 19%. Right now, ORS can keep granting waivers to developers if they feel that local zoning laws are unreasonably burdensome. If we don't stop ORS soon, how much usable land will they continue to take? Remember, we can't just snap our fingers and keep making new land for our future generations. Wetlands. We have always strived to protect our natural wetlands. They filter pollutants from water supplies, mitigate flooding, act like natural sponges to store storm waters, provide essential habitats for vulnerable wildlife. Now ORS is letting the developers in both the Mill Point Solar and the Flat Creek Solar try to mitigate wetland impacts for these solar projects. Is this even possible to truly create replacement wetlands instead of just simply preserving our natural ones? Fact. Mitigating wetlands for solar projects has caused severe soil erosion, water contamination, habitat disruption. How much more destruction of our natural resources are we going to keep allowing to be destroyed by these solar projects? Enough is enough. If we do not take a stand and stop ORS now, there's not going to be much of anything left for our children. With that, I think we all need to ask ourselves one simple question. Do we try and keep ORS from destroying more of our beautiful county, or do we or do we drop the appeal and just go with it? I definitely know my thoughts and feelings on this matter. I hope you all feel as myself and my husband do and want to continue to live in our beautiful county and enjoy our farmland and our horse farm and simply watch our children grow older and create the next generation. Life should be lived watching the beauty in the world continue to thrive, our trees, our birds, our wildlife, not staring at solar panels that are not producing the energy that was once promised. The landowner that sold out wishing he or she still had that beautiful land to pass down to the next generation or sell to another family for their lives to continue on. We both thank you very much for your time. Respectfully, Kurt and Linda Fry, Fry Stables. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name's Ray Dykeman. I think you know that already. I'm here basically to talk in favor of solar. I'm not going to lie, it benefits me. I believe it benefits the county. I believe it extremely benefits the school systems. We can't help it that farming, we lose 380 farms a year in this state, and that's not going to stop. We don't need milk. We need electricity going forward. And I do applaud the ag and farmland protection thing for they're probably here to hand out the awards, or at least to acknowledge the 11 farms that got that money. And I'm to the understanding that that money was paid for by solar money. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I heard yesterday, and pretty sure it's true. The pilot program for 2026 was $450,000. That's an increase from $400,000 in 2025 and $375,000 in 2024. When all solar projects are completed, there's an estimated value to the county of around $2 million a year annually. If the county feels like it doesn't need that money to survive, I would propose that any farmers that are left in the county get to split that money if the county doesn't feel like they need that money going forward. I've had 2 legislators that have reached out to me so far to discuss why we're doing this. I'm surprised there's not more. I don't know why there's not more research done on the benefits of solar, as opposed to everybody listening to the paid activists and basically telling a lot of lies. Many of the things that are told are not true. We know that. I'm also amazed at the report that was done a few years ago by MRB. It's the most ridiculous report I've ever read. MRB, it says right in the report, MRB will attempt to rebut, as applicable and possible, the purported positive economic impacts of the projects. Why would they not just give an honest assessment of the project? Also, the report will enumerate only the potential adverse impacts of the project. MRB will not attempt to estimate positive impacts of the project. We really just don't want the truth here, do we? We just want to make things up, and I've said it 1,000 times. I can't understand why we're not getting together and discussing this, because most of the stuff that's being said is not true. On the top of that page on the MRB report, it said that was the cost of that report was $17,500. I sincerely hope that we didn't spend county money on that report. There's so many falsehoods in that report, I wouldn't have time to go over them. Just on the conclusion page alone, on 2,666 acres of solar generation for 35 years represents a significant land use change that will remove approximately $131.1 million in annual agriculture production value. That's $49,175 an acre annually. Do you really believe that number is even remotely possible? They basically just made a report up that any fifth grader could have put together. It's just a bunch of made up numbers that are not true. Why do we not sit down and discuss these numbers like adults? And I'll just touch on the Amish thing a little bit, because that's in the report. There's a lot of love for the Amish. Basically, I spoke about this at the town meeting. I can't back their lifestyle, and it's got nothing against them. I like them. I don't believe that women not having the right to vote and not having the right to do their hair and wear jewelry and things like this is a way of life that I can support. You can support that if you want. I thought we got over that in the 1920s. I respect my wife and women too much to think that that's an appropriate way for me to think that that's the best way for the county to go. They have no labor. I don't know what their economic benefit to the county is. I would dare say that my neighbor, the Kelly farm, and that one project has more economic value in it than all the Amish combined. And that probably goes for the bunkers in Amsterdam, and that probably goes for Stanton and Mark Stanton and Mike Stanton in Amsterdam. I just don't have the guts to do what those guys are doing. Maybe they're better farmers than me. I'm willing to admit that if that's the case. I just cannot continue to go in debt in an industry that's trying to put me out of business. And I thank you. And I would ask that the appeal, that I get to know whether the appeal is going to be dropped. If it's not going to be dropped, at least have guts enough to tell me, and then I will proceed with the way I've got to proceed to go forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dick.
Hi, my name is Donna Hayes. I'm here about the solar as well. My husband and I have owned our property since the 80s, and we live on Mary's Lane, just out of Fultonville. We did sign up for the solar back in October of 2021. The reason, at the time I was working, my husband's always been a sole proprietor of his own business. And I was working, but we looked at it as a way of knowing that we could stay in our house until we passed away. I hear it's been rushed. It hasn't been rushed. It's 5 years and we're still hardly closer to getting to it than we were. We went to meetings. There was lots of meetings. They had lots of meetings at Ian's Hideaway. They provided food and everything repeatedly for people to come and find out about it. When I hear, we were farmers. Before my husband and I had this business, we were farmers. We had 3 small kids, and I had to go drive school bus because I had to put food on our table because there was not enough money in farming. We stayed farmers for around 20 years. Could not do it. We sold out twice. My husband started building sheds. We have our house over there. We don't have a mortgage on it, thanks God, because our taxes was over $5,000 last year. We don't have a 401k. We don't have a pension. So how are we going to pay $5,000 in taxes? And now our electric bill's gone up to $400 a month as well. The Amish, we live amongst the Amish, and when you say you're taking Amish farmlands, that's not true. And if you people want to drive your scenic highway, which by the way needs work and repairs because 2 signs went up in the past 2 weeks that say bump, bump, and loose stones, you drive those roads, you're going to see some fields, you're going to see pastures, but then you're going to come to the driveway that has Amish house setting back off of it, and you'll see all the sheds lined up all the way up the driveway. You'll see their house, you'll see their barn, and you'll see their big building where they're building sheds. In the town of Glen, there is, I figured at one time, 30 Amish building sheds. They're building cabins, they're building horse barns, they're doing doubles. They're just getting bigger, bigger, and bigger. A few years ago, there was a meeting amongst the Amish, and Amish from Ohio came out because there was members of the Amish community were unhappy because their standard of living had gone so much higher that they weren't happy with the barns and the houses looking so much better than the ones that weren't doing it. There is also cabinet makers, there is machine shop, there is sawmills, there's a lumber company that's an Amish. They are not farming for a living. They are running businesses. And they also go out, some of them build the pavilion up to the firehouse. They're building a building over on Riverside Drive and Washington Street. They build a building down on Lost Valley Road. They are getting $500 a day to work. The Amish, that's what they are charging, $500 a day. And some of these buildings, they're paying other people to come in and help build them, and they're paying them $500 a day. I know that for a fact. My grandson did some. I know they say they're moving out. They're not moving out. Some of them did move out back when they had this meeting, and that was because it was either take it or leave it. If you don't like it, leave. And so some did leave. There recently, one of those that left bought a house on Lesser Road. He's coming back because he's in Pennsylvania. He said, I'm not going to work for $250 a day when I come up here and make $500 a day. So they're not farming. They are manufacturing. They are doing businesses just like everybody else is doing. There is, when you say prime land is where, you grow good crops. In this county, to grow good crops, you've got to feed your land well. So I know the farming aspect of it. And if anybody that believes it's just that simple, it's not. And if you look around and drive these scenic roads that you call scenic roads, you're going to see the fields that are all grown up in brush because they are not working them. And yes, I have a picture right here. This is what I look at from my house. Yes, it is scenic, but I pay taxes to look at it. And if I don't pay my taxes, I won't be living in my house. I'd like to stay there till we pass away. My husband and I are 79 and 81 years old. We've been married 61 years and we've been paying taxes in this county. And to have to not know if we can afford to stay in a house another year because we don't have the income that we could be having. And another thing, I don't think this lawsuit is good for anybody because you are having neighbors sue neighbors. That's just not a very good thing to be doing and encouraging in any way. So I too would like to see you appeal or take back the lawsuit because that's not what it should be like. And we talk about our younger children. What are they going to come back to? They can't make enough money to stay in the county when they get out of college.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Steve Hellman, Supervisor Town of Glen. I wasn't going to speak tonight, but I'll be very short, just touch on a couple of points. New York State, as we know, is a home rule state, and that means that local counties and towns get to make decisions about how they proceed and put laws forward that they want to have followed and to regulate their lands and their communities. The towns and counties are empowered to do that under state law. We get major pieces of legislation from the state, and we do get most of our local codes from the state as well, as I'm sure all of you know. But the county and the towns can, of course, modify or further define those local codes. And as such, when we talk about small solar facilities, they're permitted locally by our local planning boards in accordance with our local town laws and ordinances. Why would we want the state of New York, who doesn't know the land, who doesn't come out here and talk to us and really engage with us in any significant way, to go ahead and be responsible for permitting large-scale facilities, in the case of Town of Glen, one that's greater than 10% of its entire land mass? It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So I was very thankful and very happy when the county decided to defend the county's laws and the town's laws and basically challenge ORES for not following their own process. Just a little bit about that. I mean, we heard some concerns earlier about reports that were part of what was put forward in the proceeding, not a legal proceeding, just an administrative proceeding. And let's recall, that this company came into town and said, look, we're going to power 65,000 homes with with this facility. And if you look at the right website, you can still find it out there that there's a claim of 65,000 homes. Yet when the permit was issued, it was nearly half that, just more than half of those number of homes. So there was a lot that was left unexplored, and yet ORES, in their lack of wisdom in my idea, went ahead and said, look, there's nothing substantive or significant to actually put us into hearings where we could actually ask questions of their experts, and they could ask questions of ours. So that's really what the lawsuit is about, right? It's about saying, look, you didn't follow your procedure. You didn't give everyone, including the county, including the town, including Glen Farmland, and including the company, a good enough opportunity to listen to each other's witnesses and ask questions. So again, I thank you, and I commend you for stepping up and looking up for our county's rights and our town's rights. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's interesting sitting back here compared to me. I just came here tonight to really thank the legislature and the county executive for establishing the Farmland Protection Reserve account. This past year, you've budgeted $250,000 for this program. You'll hear later on, there were 21 applications, and we funded 11 of those applications. It was an excellent first round. Roughly 48% of the funding went to land improvements, and about 51% went to efficiency improvements, and a little less than 1% went to marketing for those that are diversifying their operations. This funding, when the working group met for a year and a half, we were trying to figure out where the funding would come from. The director of real property sent out a report that in 2026, there's roughly $516,000 of increased assessment from the change from ag zoning or ag assessment to the new assessments. There were about $27,000 of ag conversion penalties, so those that partook in having ag assessment on their tax bills, they had to pay back some of that. So for the first year, we had $250,000 in the budget. Roughly, we used about 50% to go to this program. I think all in all, it was an excellent program. I commend Victoria Soil and Water for really taking the initiative and putting together the application, the rules. It is still a work in progress, but I think all in all, it was an excellent round. There were a few of applications that were not fundable. They just lacked filling out the paperwork properly. When you're dealing with a grant, if you put NA on areas, you get 0 points. So it's a ranking system, it's point-based. So unfortunately, not everyone was funded. That being said, I know there's talks of possibly putting in $50,000 or another $100,000 into this program for this year. I really struggle with that. When we put forward this proposal, it was $250,000. We laid out the rules. Let's see the initial applications come to completion. Let's reassess if it's a good program. I really believe it's a great program. And then if things are a success, then let's fund it next year, as we originally discussed. I will say, if I were sitting in your chairs, I would not be voting in favor of additional funding for this round. I think our ranking system was good. We had 8 people in the room, 2 county employees, and we spent a good half a day, and there was a lot of discussion. We have some improvements for next year when and if you guys continue to fund this program. And I think overall it really lived up to what it was meant to do from the initial, increasing grants that'll help increase efficiency. 51% of the funding, as I said earlier, went to those. Land improvements such as tiling and laneways and drainage, and 48% of the funding went to those type of projects. So I think, the idea and the conception have come to fruition, and a few of the projects are near complete. So it's amazing that we were able to go from releasing the applications, ranking the applications, funding the applications, getting the work done in such a short period of time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly.
Oh, Martin Kelly, John.
Known to all of us.
Hi. My name is Chelsea Gandera. I live right in Fultonville on Van Epps Road. I did want to come on to thank everybody again. I'm one of the homeowners that's going to be surrounded by the solar farm. I don't even like calling it a farm. So I moved to Montgomery County in Fultonville for my 2 small children. I wanted them to grow up in a really nice area with a nice school district. And I picked that home out with that in mind, thinking I'm gonna raise my children in this lovely community. When I found out about the project, I still, to this day, my heart is broken. And I feel lost. I feel like New York State has failed me. There's nobody to protect my family. All I'm hearing about is everybody in support of solar and helping the farm, but nobody's protecting the other residents. Me and my husband work very hard. I had saved up for that home. I saved for the down payment. I saved for the closing costs. I wanted to redo things in my home, but I haven't. I was excited. I was gonna put in a patio in the backyard. play set for the kids. I won't do that. I put everything on hold. I feel like my life has been on hold. I don't have enough equity in my home to sell because I don't want to live with my front yard and backyard just completely covered in metal panels. And to this day, I still don't know what to do. I don't know what the right answer is, but I just wanted to come on to thank everybody and say that I'm just happy somebody is fighting for the people that do have to be surrounded by these things. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, is there anyone else who would like to make public comment? Hearing none, we will move on to the presentations portion of our meeting with an update from Montgomery County Water and Soil Conservation Board. Corey and Victoria, please come up. Excuse myself for a moment. Feel free to begin.
If we were better, we would have handed it out before the meeting.
It's okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm sure you've all heard a lot about this program. It's been a big topic. We're very excited to announce the winners of the grant. Like Martin said, we had a lot of applications and we were able to fund 11 of those, doing various projects that are going to help these farms become more efficient and be more viable as we move on in the future. You can read all about the projects on the inside pamphlet, and you can read about the funding on the other side. I do want to point out that we had $530,000 in ask, and we were able to fund $250,000, so 47% of the ask was funded. Of that, we're really excited. I've been out to a couple of the farms that have gotten started. They've got their projects going and they're just chugging along. It's amazing to see how everybody has just taken hold of this opportunity and moved forward with it. And we're really thankful to the legislator to have this opportunity.
So I think Martin said a lot. Victoria's report is, I hope you guys get a chance to look it over good. It was pretty interesting to go out to these farms and sit down with them, and they're signing contracts and going over the proposals and going over how we're going to do the implementation. 4 of them have already started. 2 will probably be done by the end of the week, and the other 2 will be done early next week. And the rest of them are, we're in the moving process, the planning process on those. But when you sit down with somebody that needed to buy a $100,000 piece of equipment, and he said, I really had to upgrade, I just couldn't quite justify getting this done, and I can increase my syrup production by 40% with this machine. And he's like, this is like that $30,000 on a $100,000 project. And he said, it just, pushed him right into it so that I could immediately do it, immediately move forward. You go to the next farm, he's like, I really needed to get this fixed in my barn, and I just couldn't really come up with the money. These farmers are doing carry loans right now, so they're not really making a profit. They're coming back to do the investment in the farm. It's been difficult. So as Ray mentioned, we have an increase in tax revenue from the solar, and to see that reinvestment in the county. And when I go out to these farms and talk to these guys, and we put them right into the farm and right into their projects and right into their barns and in their homesteads, to see the projects that we're doing there, it's really uplifting to go out there and see that, and see it right there, and just listen to these guys. That this money is real. It's making a real big difference on some of the farms. We talked about that. Maybe we get $2 million in revenue when the next couple of solar projects are done. So the hope is that we did 50% of it this year, right? We had 550,000. We got 250,000 towards the projects. Maybe we keep reinvesting that money and showing how dedicated we are to the farmers in this county, and push $1 million into that farm and just keep reinvesting. Because that $2 million would be perpetual, right? It's there. So hopefully as that develops and the revenue stream increases, we continue that reinvestment in Montgomery County, and that investment back into the agriculture that is staying here and active. And I invite all you guys to come out and look at these projects and meet with the farm and just see how thankful they are for having this opportunity to get these projects done.
And if
Okay.
anybody has any questions, please, you have my contact information. Reach out to me. I'm willing to answer and talk, whatever you need. Thank you.
Thank you, Cory and Victoria.
Thank you.
All right, clerk, do we have any communications?
No communications, Chair.
All right, thank you. A motion from the floor for the approval of all the meeting minutes. All right, do we have a second?
Second.
Legislators Headwell and Majewski. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Passed.
A motion for the acceptance of the budgetary transfers,
So moved.
please. Legislator Kowalczyk.
Second.
Legislator Muehlbeck. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Passed.
And a motion, please, for the procurement record.
I'll make a motion.
Legislator Majewski and Legislator Headwell. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Passed.
All right, is there any old business anybody would like to speak about? Hearing none, let's move on to our resolutions and our new business. Starting off with resolution number 177, adopting the revised non-bargaining personnel policy for full-time, part-time, non-represented employees, appointed officials, and department heads. Sponsors were legislators Sweet and Pollock. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Passed.
Resolution 178, authorizing the county executive to sign family-centered case management services contract with Captain Community Human Services. Sponsors were legislators Majewski and Kowalczyk. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Passed.
Resolution 179, authorizing the county executive to sign an agreement with Bonadio Company LLP. Sponsors were legislators Kowalczyk and Headwell Jr. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Passed.
Resolution 180, authorizing county executive to sign contract with Fort Hudson Home Care and amend the 2026 operating budget. Sponsors were legislators Pep and Muehlbeck. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Passed.
Resolution 181, authorizing the county executive to enter into a contract for transportation services on bid 04-26. Sponsors were legislators Majewski and Sweet. Discussion. Any discussion?
There's an amendment.
Yes, I know that, yep. All right, I would like to bring it up on my phone, unless you got it handy.
No, it's not.
Okay. We had a couple meetings ahead of time there. I apologize. When did you send out that? You have it handy there, Pat, or not?
Wednesday or Thursday?
It's the 23rd, which is Thursday, was sent out.
Thursday.
Which was
23rd.
23rd, yeah.
Okay. I'd like to propose an amendment to this resolution, removing the third whereas clause and replacing it with the following language. Whereas at this time, the department only wants to move forward with awarding the RFP to the routes that have students assigned to ride. In the event that any of the routes that do not currently have students end up with students in the future, those routes will be rebid. Do I have a sponsor for that amendment?
I'll sponsor.
I'll second.
Legislators Majewski and Kowalczyk. Discussion on that. Hearing none, all in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Passed.
All right, now, let's vote on the resolution 181 as amended. Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay.
Hang on one second, please.
Sure.
Passed.
Thank you. Resolution 182, authorizing the Montgomery County Health Department to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Village of Canajoharie Youth Center for Community Health Programming and Events. Sponsors were legislators Pep and Kowalczyk. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Abstain.
Who abstained?
Legislator Muehlbeck.
1 second, please.
Sure.
We're set, thank you.
All good? Pass. All right, Resolution 183, approving the retirement and transfer of K-9 Sam and K-9 Bud. Sponsors were legislators Sweet and Fiorello. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Passed.
Resolution 184, accepting the fiscal year-end 2025 State Emergency Management Performance Grant from New York State Homeland Security and amending the 2026 operating budget. Sponsors were legislators Muehlbeck and Kowalczyk. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Passed.
Resolution 185, authorizing the county executive to enter into a contract extension with the United States Marshal Service to house federal detainees. Sponsors were legislators Fiorello and Peck. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Passed.
Resolution 186, authorizing the county executive to sign an agreement accepting the FY 2025 State Homeland Security Program grant funds and amending the 2026 operating budget. Sponsors were legislators Elwood and Pollock. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Passed.
Resolution 187, accepting criminal justice discovery reform grant and authorizing the county executive to sign the agreement. Sponsors were legislators Swede and Elwood. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Passed.
Resolution 188, authorizing county executive to sign intermunicipal agreement for leachate disposal with the Village of Canajoharie. Sponsors were legislators Majewski and Kowalczyk. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Passed.
Resolution 189, amending the 2026 operating budget surplus equipment auction. Sponsors were legislators Kowalczyk and Fiorello. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Passed.
Resolution 190, amending the 2026 operating budget surplus equipment auction. Sponsors were legislators Fiorello and Pollock. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Passed.
Resolution 191, authorizing the county executive to sign contract for highway maintenance. Sponsors were legislators Majewski and Kowalczyk. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Passed.
Resolution 192, supporting the Montgomery County Consolidated Funding Application Canalway Grant Program. Sponsors were legislators Kowalczyk and Muehlbeck. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Passed.
Resolution 193, authorizing the county executive to sign agreement with Lyro Engineers, Inc. for engineering services related to Exit 29 redevelopment and creek walking trail project and amending the 2026 operating budget. Sponsors were legislators Majewski and Peck. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Passed.
Resolution 194, amending the 2026 operating budget. Sponsors were legislators Majewski and Fiorello. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Passed.
Resolution 195, adopting the 2026-27 FMCC operating budget. Sponsors were legislators Pep and Sweet. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Passed.
Resolution 196, nominating member to the CDTA board. Sponsors were legislators Pollock and Majewski. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Passed.
And Resolution 197, approving the abstract of audited claims. Sponsors were legislators Kowalczyk and Muehlbeck. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Passed.
I have one other thing I just want to mention. Next month, during our Budget and Finance Committee meeting, we will be reviewing our departmental budget, and that's our custom for the new legislators going into the budget season. We'll go line by line on each of our, line items within our cost center, reviewing, discussing, and you will be sent a copy of it by Pat in anticipation of the meeting. Won't see it for the first time that afternoon. It's not an extensive, you can go look in your budget from last year. Not a lot of line items, but certainly items worth discussing. Is there anybody who wants to make any other comment on anything else before we close down the meeting? Ma'am, I'm sorry, it's too late. You missed the public comment part of the meeting.
Very sorry, thank you.
That's okay. I wish I could, but I can't. All right. Hearing none, a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Legislators Kowalczyk
Second.
and Pauly. Meeting is adjourned.